Central Kentucky. Mr. Barr for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the American people are frustrated and angry that politicians in Washington can't even work together to keep the government open and operating. They're hearing a lot of rhetoric from the White House and Congress about who is to blame. But instead of trading accusations about who is to blame, the President and Congress should face the realities of divided government. The only way forward in divided government, when there is a difference of opinion, when there is an impasse, is negotiation and compromise. I come from the same congressional district that was once represented by Henry Clay, a great statesman and Speaker of the House. Clay, who was known as the Great Compromiser, knew that in divided government the only way forward is through negotiation and compromise. Unfortunately, the President and the Senate Majority Leader continue to reject the model of Henry Clay. They continue to say that they will refuse to negotiate, refuse to compromise, refuse to work in a bipartisan way to achieve a middle ground and end this government shutdown. Last night, the President hosted congressional leaders at the White House. But rather than offer to negotiate about how to reopen the government and fix some of the harmful effects of Obamacare, the President reiterated his stubborn refusal to negotiate. Regrettably, the meeting was more political theater than a genuine effort to resolve this impasse. In contrast, this House has offered to negotiate. The House has offered multiple compromises. Since September 20th, the House has voted no less than 14 times to fund the government, to fund critical parts of the government, to fund the District of Columbia, to fund the National Institutes of Health, to fund our national parks, to fund our troops, to fund our veterans, and to end this government shutdown. But instead of working with House Republicans to reopen the government, this administration directed barricades to be placed at the World War II Memorial, inconveniencing our honor flight veterans visiting our nation's capital. Instead of working with House Republicans to end the interruption of life-saving clinical trials for cancer patients through the NIH, the Senate Majority Leader asked, why would we want to do that? Our friends on the other side of the aisle say they want to vote on a so-called clean CR. They insist that we ignore the voices of millions of our constituents who are flooding our offices with calls asking for protection from Obamacare. But the truth is this: the House has compromised over and over and over again. And the only demand that this House is making to the President and this Senate is that if you insist on Obamacare, if you refuse to delay this law or fix its harmful features, then at least do away with your special deal. At least give up your special exemption and your special perk under this law. At least join with House Republicans in requiring all politicians in Washington, the President, members of the Cabinet, members of Congress and their staff, to live under the same health care law that they have imposed on the American people. At least live by the laws you write. Mr. Speaker, let me conclude by asking my colleagues on the other side of the aisle a simple question. If Obamacare is such a great program for the American people, if it is so worth defending that you're willing to shut down the government to defend it, then why won't you participate in it? Think about it. If Obamacare's exchanges are such a perfect solution to the problems of health care in our nation, then why are Democrats in the White House and in Congress so intent on keeping their special exemption from them? Mr. Speaker, it is wrong for politicians in Washington to shut down the government and vote against every bill to reopen the government just to keep their special deal that no other American gets under Obamacare. So I call on the President and the Senate to end their stubborn refusal to negotiate, end their stubborn refusal to compromise, and their stubborn refusal to open this government just so that they can keep their special exemption under Obamacare. Mr. Speaker, I say that if Obamacare is such a great law for the American people, then it should be good enough for President Obama and members of Congress. I yield back.
The chair will receive a message.
Mr. Speaker, a message from the Senate.
Mr. Speaker,
Madam Secretary.
I have been directed by the Senate to inform the House that this